Hello and welcome to the Cryptocurrency News channel. Now, I have a feeling that VET might actually pump next week, and I'm going to tell you why. VET's performance is not that it's been bad, but people have been hankering for a pump, and VET has been losing ranking, mainly not because it's actually performed bad against Bitcoin or other established cryptocurrencies, but because a lot of DeFi projects just came up from nothing to be a couple of $1 billion out of nowhere this year, because this year has been the DeFi boom. And that's why cryptos that were ranked 20 or 25 have actually lost a couple of ranks. It's things like Curve AVE that have really come up. Sushi is also another one of them, as is Uniswap. But outside of that, I do believe it's actually going to come up next week, because this week is actually Chinese New Year. So VET's holding its position because I think a lot of the businesses in China kind of stop for Chinese New Year, and you can actually tell by the VETho burn ratio this week. It's actually way down from where it usually is. It was only 3.7 million yesterday, and it was only 5 million the day before. And Chinese New Year actually in China is actually today. So 3.7 million is actually even low for a weekend day usually. Now last year at this time, 3.7 million was actually average for a busy weekday. So that can tell you how much VETho has actually grown. But when VETho burns a lot, people sometimes take notice and they buy more VETho. VETho ends up being more. And if VETho ends up being more, obviously the thing that generates VETho is VET. So VET generally follows VETho in being more expensive soon. And I think yes, VET has pumped today, but I think it can actually pump more next week as things go back to normal. I expect this number on the weekdays to top 10 million and be pretty consistent above 10 million once Chinese New Year is over. Sonny Liu has actually said there might be some surprises in the line after a Chinese New Year. What they are, I'm not really sure. Hopefully that we get more American partnerships, but the usage of VET actually has been much greater this year than last year at this time. It's increased roughly 2 to 3x or 2.5 to 3x. And I think it'll continue to actually go up as more people are on board. And also, even though exchanges are not allowed in China, there is a decent amount of CNY trading with VET, because there are some people in China, actually quite a few people in China, that go via the VPN route and trade on other exchanges. People find ways to get around these things. The Chinese government isn't really all that keen on shutting that down because it's still a small amount of total investors. So they're actually once a couple more announcements come in after Chinese New Year, once businesses actually open up, the VETho starts kicking up. I think some people will actually see the increased VETho spend, and they'll see the increased VETho spend. They'll buy more VETho, and that'll actually affect VET prices. I'm looking at Vechain. I'm hoping it reaches 5 cents by the middle of March at least. It's about 4 cents right now, but I'm hoping it reaches 5 by the middle of March. And I'd rather see a gradual climb rather than sudden pump and dumps like many coins such as Dogecoin have actually experienced. If you actually looked at Vechain price action over the last year, it's actually not done too bad. If you look at Bitcoin last 1 year, 1 year being 365 days exactly, it has actually gone up 380%. Vechain 1 year exactly 544%. So it's outperformed Bitcoin by a significant amount. Obviously, it can't compare to Cardano, which has gone up 1,459%. So Cardano's grown 2.5x as much as Vechain, but Bitcoin's Bitcoin's really only had about 70% of Vechain's growth. So it hasn't actually done bad in the last year, but I do believe it'll actually perform quite well in March, because after the whole Chinese New Year thing is over. Chinese New Year, for those of you that don't know, really is Christmas, Thanksgiving, and New Year wrapped up into one holiday for China. That is by far the biggest holiday, and most businesses just shut down. So once they open it back up, and a lot of these partnerships become operational again after Chinese New Year, the VETho will go way up. And also the Chinese New Year celebration in China is often at least 1 week, if not 2 weeks. And that's how long people actually get off work. It's a big holiday, the biggest in the entire year, the Lunar New Year. And that's true for much of Asia. So I do think once investors get back in after Chinese New Year, I do think that they will actually buy up some VET, and hopefully that'll actually spike up VETho and VET. So I think it'll do very well in March and through the remainder of February after this week. And that's why I think Vechain could pump a bit next week. So that is the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe and hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.